Sargent for Young, and a goal! Young, and a goal! And a goal by number 10 Young.
They remember the noise, the scorers who pointed to the name on their back, the ones who made headlines before they made history. But they forget the quiet ones, the ones who moved with precision, spoke with their feet, and disappeared after doing everything right. Neil James Young. No slogans, no interviews. No need to explain what he'd already done. He didn't slow the game down, he sped it up, controlled it, decided it. He wasn't built for cameras. He was built for finals. And when the moment came, he finished it, without a celebration, without a sound, because real players don't ask to be remembered. They leave proof behind and walk away. But football forgets fast and silence doesn't sell. Subscribe if you still believe in the players who never chased attention. They just changed the result. Neil James Young. Born 17th of February 1944 in Fallowfield, South Manchester. A working class home. A window that looked across to Maine Road. No luxury. No shortcuts. Just a street, a ball, and a boy who knew exactly where he was going. His family didn't come from football, but football found him early. He played in the alleys, then in the schools, then for Manchester boys, where the touch sharpened, the pace quickened, and the name started to echo quietly. No flair, just balance, accuracy, and a left foot that didn't hesitate. Harry Godwin, City's scout, watched him once. That was enough. In 1959, Young was brought into Manchester City as an apprentice. He cleaned boots, laid out kits, watched seniors walk past without a word. He didn't complain. He trained. And in July 1960, City gave him a professional contract. No fanfare, no pictures, just a signature on paper and the start of everything. He wasn't a youth star. He wasn't promoted in the press. He was just a left-footed apprentice with a job to do and a club to serve. The boy from Fallowfield was now on City's books, quiet, sharp, waiting. And the silence was nearly over. His name was on the books. Now it had to mean something. November 1961. Manchester City with Aston Villa. A 17-year-old steps into the side. No noise, no spotlight. Neil Young didn't arrive with pressure. He arrived with purpose. 1 month later, he scored his first senior goal. 23rd of December 1961 against Ipswich Town. Left foot, clean strike, no celebration. City was struggling, and the headlines were already focused elsewhere. By April 1962, the club dropped into the second division. The rebuild hadn't started yet, and Neil Young had no promises of survival. Most players fade during those years, lost in the reserves, quietly released, forgotten. But he stayed, trained harder, took the hits, played the long game. Between 1962 and 1965, the club changed managers, formations and focus. But Young stayed in the side, silent, useful, precise. No fan love, no England talk, just minutes. By the time most fans noticed his name, he'd already played dozens of games and watched the club collapse from the inside, and he didn't walk away. Because for Neil Young, football wasn't about being seen, it was about doing the job, especially when no one was watching. By 1965, the noise around City was gone. Relegated, rebuilding, stuck. Then two names arrived. Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison. One calm, one fire. Together, they cleared what didn't belong and found what did. Neil Young wasn't flashy, but he didn't need teaching. He needed unlocking. Allison pushed him inside, closer to goal, less wide space, more damage. He told him to shoot more, to stop deferring, to finish. And Young responded. That season in 1965-66, he scored in double figures, became City's top scorer, and helped drag the club to the second division title. Promotion. Not because of hype, but because of execution. He didn't argue. He adapted. The new system didn't just suit him. It was built with him in mind. Between Mercer's structure and Allison's fire, Neil Young became the balance. Quiet, calm, lethal. No headlines, but the staff saw it. The teammates felt it. And for the first time, the club wasn't just surviving. It was preparing to win. And at the heart of that shift was a player who had never once asked to be noticed. The new system worked. And Neil Young didn't slow down. 1967-68. Manchester City, rising, but not yet trusted. Everyone looked to Bell, Lee, Summerby. But the goals, they came from Young. He didn't point to the crowd. He didn't demand headlines. He just kept scoring. 19 league goals that season. Quiet, efficient. City's top scorer. And on the final day, 11 in May 1968, away at Newcastle, he made it count. 2 goals, on a muddy pitch, with the title on the line. City won 4-3, champions of England. Neil Young didn't lift the trophy first. He didn't ask to. He just watched the cameras move elsewhere. And said nothing. He didn't need credit. He had numbers. He had proof. But the story was already being written around other names. He'd scored when it mattered. Led the line, finished the job. And got left behind in the retelling. In a team full of legends, Neil Young was the one who made them champions. But when history wrote it down, it skipped his name. 1969, Wembley, Manchester City via Leicester. One of the biggest matches in the club's modern history. 24th minute, a low cross from Mike Summerby. One perfect touch. Neil Young, left foot, low, clean, final. 1-0, no celebration. No arms raised, just a silent turn and jog back. He didn't need applause. He needed the scoreboard to change, and he did it. That goal gave Manchester City their first FA Cup since 1956. It confirmed what the staff already knew. He wasn't the face of the team, but he was the reason they lifted trophies. No press photos focused on him. No interviews led with his name. But ask anyone in that dressing room, and they'll tell you who delivered. Not Bell, not Lee, not Summerby, not that day. Neil Young. He didn't wear a captain's armband. He wore responsibility in silence. And when the moment came, he made it simple. No panic, no flair. Just one goal. Just enough. And then he disappeared into the shadows again. Exactly where he'd always been. Same season. 2 finals. 1970. The first, the League Cup. Neil Young had played the earlier rounds. He contributed. But on the day of the final, he wasn't in the team. Some say he was dropped. Others say he chose to be absent, to witness the birth of his child. Either way, he wasn't on the pitch, and the questions never stopped. But there was no time to explain, because 6 weeks later, Manchester City were in Vienna, the European Cup winners, Cup final. And this time Neil Young started. 12th minute. A rebound falls. He finishes it, sharp, fast, final. 1-0. Then he draws the foul that leads to City's second. Francis Lee converts. The match ends 2-1. City lift their first European trophy. And Neil Young delivers. Again. No speech. No quote. No headlines. Just the goal that put City in front. Just the run that earned the penalty. Another final. Another contribution. Another name removed from the headline. While others raised the cup, he stepped away from the cameras. Because he didn't chase legacy. He just kept building it. He'd scored in a domestic final. He'd scored in a European final. He'd scored twice on the day City won the league. But he never played for England. Not once. Not a cap. Not a call-up. Not even a conversation. While others gave quotes, he gave goals. While others played for headlines, he played for trophies. But it wasn't enough. By 1971, he was slipping from the lineup. Injuries. Grief. His brother Chris died. Something inside shifted. His last appearance for City came in October 1971. Then came the sale. Preston North End for 48,000. He played. He scored, but it wasn't the same. Then Rochdale. A final move, a final silence. No farewell match. No tribute. He left Manchester City with 413 appearances, 108 goals, 4 major trophies, and nothing to show for it. No testimonial. No medal ceremony. No England shirt. And he said nothing. Because he never played for recognition, only for results. But when the game moved on, it left him behind, like none of it ever happened. Retirement didn't bring peace. It brought reality. No savings, no safety net, no recognition. The man who won finals worked removals, delivered milk, stood outside supermarkets. Not for image, for survival. He lost his home, moved back in with his mother. There was depression. There was a suicide attempt. There was no help. He had 3 marriages. His children, Melissa, Nadine, Mark, never saw their father celebrated the way his legacy deserved. Because football only rewards those who stay loud, and Neil Young stayed silent, but not everyone forgot. Carmen, his final wife, stood beside him from 1989. They married in 2003, and she remained to him on long after football let go. In 2010, the diagnosis came: cancer, terminal. And still, no campaign, no headline. But the real fans remembered. The rare ones. 9 January 2011, FA Cup tie at Leicester. 4,000 City supporters wore red and black scarves. The colours Neil Young wore when he won the cup in '69. The club didn't do it for nostalgia. They did it because they knew. He was the reason. Mancini wore one. The staff wore them. The players did too. And for a moment, the silence broke. 3 February 2011. Neil Young passed away, aged 66, without a testimonial, without a cap for his country, but not without legacy, because some names fade from papers, but never from the ones who truly watched. The injustice was real. While he lived, they gave him nothing. But after the final whistle, the truth rose with the scarves. And the club finally said it. One of the most elegant players ever to wear the sky blue shirt. He never chased that sentence, but he earned every word. Subscribe if you believe legacy doesn't need noise. It needs truth. And if you know that the rare ones are remembered quietly, but forever.